What's up, class, and welcome back to another lesson in the No Mod Shop class here on the Skooled Zone. In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to build the perfect bathroom vanity display. You saw the start of something like it in my Vault 42 build, and then I perfected it in my Covenant build. People have been asking about it, so I bumped it out the list. And for those of you who are itching for some manufacturing and more on logic gates, don't worry, all those lessons are on the list and coming soon. So we are going to build the bathroom vanity display here at my Jamaica Plain build, because I also want to show you some more progress I've made over here. And as always, for those who want to skip the mini tour as well as some building tip tidbits and get right to the main lesson, I'll throw up a time code for you. Now we'll start off here at nighttime and then I'll rest until daytime because I want to show you how cool things are looking over here at night. So let's take a look at how it's shaping up. Oh, and Cat Meat says hi. Okay, so you've seen this area, the Wall of Fame for my Patreons. And we'll go in the back door over here. A little security center. Looks like a face. LPK. Okay, so most of you probably remember this area. It's looking pretty sweet, and my backlit gun rack display. All this area is pretty much looking the same, so we'll just head over to the new parts. Actually, we'll swing around the front, how about? There's my secret house. Haven't changed anything there since the last video. Jaws just chilling. Okay, so here we have the school dorm. Okay, so as you can see, I added a section here, but we'll get to that in a second. My nice double doors. Now onto the inside. Now the last time I showed you guys the dormitory was my 4-poster king-size bed video. Most of you loved that idea, but a few said the bed looked like a pull-out couch because of, well, the couch I used for the headboard. After looking at it again, it was hard to unsee it as a pull-out couch, so I did decide to upgrade it. A viewer named Megan Davis suggested I use a backwards bookcase as the headboard. I like that idea, so thanks for the suggestion, Megan. The problem was that all the bookcases were too short in width. But I was determined, so I created this headboard concoction with 2 countertops glitched together. Worked out perfectly. I also took out the posts because I think I can improve on that too. They were a little too far apart for my taste, so I'll show that off in a future settlement tour. So I'll turn off the light because of the next cool thing I'm going to show you, and that was in my double doors video. I also said I wanted to figure out something cool to do with the brick wall around the side of the house. Well, I did that, and that led me to expanding out the dorm on all sides. You know, as you can see, I pushed this around here. This has added the bathroom, which is where we're going to be building the bathroom display. And then over here, check this out. You guys are going to love this. So that has got to be one of the coolest no-mod fireplaces I've seen. Unfortunately, this is something that can only be done over here at Jamaica Plain with the brick doorway. And it took a lot of patience as this whole area is bumping right up against the edge of the settlement boundary. But it worked out exceptionally well, and I put in a Christmas tree here because why not? Christmas anytime in my fantasy world. But also probably because this is the only setup where it would look appropriate. It certainly wouldn't look good at a raider type settlement. But yeah, I got some presents under the Christmas tree. Got this little couch area. Now it's dark right now because I just set this up pretty much before I recorded this video. So there's going to be a lot more I'm going to do with this whole area. But yeah, I wanted to show you how that worked out. Made good use of that brick wall. This area over here is going to be a little kitchenette snack area. We'll call it the commissary. Of course, have the exit zone right here. And I moved the little basketball area to right here. And then decided to go ahead and put a boardwalk over this area because I was getting tired of jumping over those dead flower beds there. So, yeah. So, moving on. Let's get to building a bathroom display. Okay, so this area right here. Oh, you know what? Let's do this during the daytime, and I can also show you what this whole area looks like during the day. All right, so I'll be back in 2 shakes. Okay, we're back. Now, just to give you some fair warning here, I have gone over the settlement size limit pretty far. I mean, geez, man. I think this is only like the third or fourth building I've built, and it's already starting to lose frame. So I apologize if you noticed that. But yeah, it's looking nice. Now I'm going to start adding lights and everything to here. So this is just, you know, another advanced look at what it's going to look like when I'm done. But yeah, it's turning out well. Okay, so this is the area where we're going to build the bathroom display. So let's go ahead and pop in here. This is what I got so far. Not much. What I'm going to try to do, if I can, is build some bathroom stalls. We'll see how that works out. Maybe I can try using the half walls or something, you know, for a little privacy. But yeah, right over here is where we're going to build the bathroom vanity. And I have a little marker that I put right here for where the sink should line up, just because that took a little while to get right, because we want the countertops to drop down perfectly into place. So this is something I use pretty often when I need to mark things. It's a little arrow from the vault-tec signs area. I can go ahead and show you where that is since we're going into workshop mode anyway. So it's right from this area, decorations, vault, signs, and it's at the end over here. There we go. So that's something a little tip and trick that I sort of use while I'm building things that you guys don't usually see on camera, but I thought I'd show you because we're going to need it here. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is actually remove these ceiling tiles because we're going to be needing some room above our head. So I'll pop those back into place when we're done. And let's go ahead and get out the sink. We'll use the cleaner sink from vault-tec. There we go. Now, if you get a little closer to the sink, you can make it sink down a little farther than it wants to normally. So we're going to try to get that right down to where that marker is. Oh, so close. I think I got it. Okay. Pretty much where it starts to turn away from you is where you're going to want it. And that should be the same for all materials that you're building on, whether it's the barn walls or, you know, cement or whatever, but right about there. Okay, that should be good. Let me take this thing out now. Oh, Jesus. That shouldn't have happened. Okay, it's just because I got it too close to the wall. And okay, so let me reload. Sorry about that. See, it's good to see these little mistakes, you know, because, you know, even master builders go through them. Okay, we're back. Apologize about that. So I can go ahead and probably just take out this marker because I know it may have happened actually because I removed the wall instead of the arrow by accident. So let me go ahead and just remove that arrow just in case. Okay, so if I remember correctly, we're going to want to sink it down to right where it starts to turn. Right there. Perfect. Okay, so let's get out the counters. And for those, I think they're going to be in tables. Yep, here we are. So we're going to use the large ones for the counters. Okay, so I'm going to set one right over here, and we're going to rug glitch that into place. Okay, so I'm going to line it up so that that line down the center is lined up with the faucet, but I don't want it sticking out the other side. So let's see if I've got it sticking out too far over here. I do just a little bit, so let's adjust that. Okay, looks good from that side, looks good over here. All right, and then at this point, it should sink perfectly down into place. All right, let's give it a shot. Boom, there we go. All right, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna repurpose this rug right over here. Okay, then we'll get out another counter. Now in my Covenant build, I had reseated the middle counter just a little bit because I had room to do that on the other side of the wall. But in this case, we'll just have the counters lined up with each other. And what I'm going to do in this case is line it up with the sink, the edge of the sink. All right, and we're going to want to get it to where we can just barely see that front rim disappear off the bottom molding of this counter. All right, just like that. All right, and let's see if I have it lined up. I can move it over just a little bit more. This way it's not sticking out on the right side of the wall too much. Moved it over just a little bit too much. I'll make these little adjustments fast forward for you. Okay, that looks nice. Let's go ahead and remove this, and it should also drop into place if my theory is correct. Right on, right on. No Murphy's Law yet. YouTubers are always praying that everything they do in the test works out on camera, and usually it does, but sometimes it doesn't. Okay, for this one, I'm gonna slide this over just a little bit. So it's not going to interfere with the area. And then I'm going to have to move my object over remotely. Okay, looks lined up. All right, let's give it a shot. Perfect. Okay, we're going to need that in a second, so I'll put it over here. And let's take a look. Wow, that's great. That worked out. Now, like I said, in my Covenant build, I had the center part receded a little bit, and I didn't have these quite so close. But because of the shape of this area right here, and, you know, you got to adapt to the environment. You always have to adapt and improvise according to what you're using. So let me just check and make sure everything looks good over here. Okay, we have a little bit sticking out over here, but that's not too bad. I can cover that up with something. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add a shelf. We'll use a metal shelf so it all kind of fits in there. Should we use the decorative one or the plain one? We'll use the decorative one, why not? Okay, now, because this is a barn wall, it's only going to fit at a certain height from a certain distance. Ugh. Try to get as low as I can without it. There we go. Okay, I think that looks good. Let me see if I can get it down a little farther. I don't think I can. Nope. No. Okay, so that's as far down as it'll go. No problem. Okay, and then let me go ahead and remove these because the next thing we're going to do is add a mirror or something that's going to simulate a mirror. All right, so I'll show you the two tricks that I use. First of all, let's see here. For the one in my Covenant build, I think it's in the miscellaneous section. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay, so for the one in my Covenant build, I used this cart from vault-tec. You know, it's got a flat steel reflective surface. It's got something that looks like it can be a towel bar, and then it's got a little mini shelf. And because of the configuration of that wall, I was able to hide the wheels at the bottom of the cart in the shelving area because I was able to push it really far back into the wall. And where it stuck out on the other side of the wall is where you guys saw the locker. Okay, so I basically just rug glitched a locker on the other side of that wall to cover up the cart. Now, we're not going to be able to do that here, because this area is going to be an area where I'm probably going to put a bunch of the dorm beds for settlers and stuff for the class. So instead of using this cart, we're going to use the other object I used in my Vault 42 build, which was a crate from the vault-tec miscellaneous section. All right, so we're going to use this steel crate to be our mirror. All right, see, it's all about using objects in creative ways. All right, so I'm going to put this crate on. Actually, I'm going to off-center it a little bit here like that. And then I'm going to add another rug. You'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Okay, and then to get it up here, now why am I using rugs in this case, not the pillar glitch? Well, I use the pillar glitch for my Covenant build, but I use the technique I'm going to show you now in my Vault 42 build. And there's two reasons for that. One, because whenever you're using the rug glitch, you have the ability to make corrections and adjustments. With the pillar glitch, you basically get one shot or you got to reload. Also, with any of the native environments that come with settlements, you can usually sink pillars into the ground, but not usually with crafted structures, like this wooden floor here. So I wouldn't be able to sink and lower the pillar very easily to get it right into place, okay? So instead, I'm gonna show you the technique so that we can rug glitch this crate into the wall. And the way we're gonna do that is we're gonna go to the wood section, grab one of these half shack stairs, and I'm going to put it about right there. That should be good. And then we're going to go to the warehouse section, and I believe there are some mesh half floors. There we go. Perfect. Okay, see, this way I can see through the mesh, sort of, you know, pretty much. You can see through it a lot better than the wood, at least. All right, now we're going to grab this rug configuration, and now you can see why I left a hole between the front rug and the crate, so I could also kind of see through that. But in this case, we actually have some rafters that we can use to line it up. So that was just an extra bonus tip in case you're using a flat wall that doesn't have reference points like that. Okay, so I'm going to get it to where I can see it's even. There we go, almost. Okay, and then I'm going to pull it out pretty far, actually. Should be good. I think that's lined up. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, so then what we're going to do is pull out the rug, and it should drop right onto the shelf. Perfect. Oh, rock on. Nice. Okay, so we only have one little mistake I had to correct, and that was pulling out the whole wall. Okay, see, we got a sink here that is just perfectly lined up. Enough room for all the students to dress in the morning, I suppose. We got something that simulates a mirror, and the faucet even turns on. And it doesn't look too bad over here. It's sticking out a little bit, and I'm going to do something very creative here because what I'm going to show you now are two lighting configurations. I'll put these ceilings back in. So I'll show you 2 or 3 lighting configurations, and I'll decorate it a little bit so you can see how it all comes together, okay? So hang tight. Okay, first of all, this is what the cart looks like. I like this better. Unfortunately, because of the way that the rafters stick out of the wall, I couldn't push it all the way back to cover those wheels like I did in my Covenant build. And also it looks really weird sticking out of the wall over here, okay? So that's why I went with the crate instead, but I just wanted to kind of show you one lighting configuration that I have here with some of those bulb lights, okay? And I'll show you the next option. Okay, so here's one lighting configuration. This utilizes one of the fluorescent lights that are hanging above. This one's a little too dim for my taste, so I decided to go ahead and try out a few others. So hang tight and I'll show you those. Okay, so here's an interesting configuration that I tried. In this case, before I dropped this crate / mirror into place, I added one of those wall lights, the flat ones. I'll pull it out and be able to pop it back into place. But I added one of these right above the shelf before I dropped the crate down into place with the rug glitch that you saw earlier. And what it does is it backlights the crate, makes it super reflective. All right, so that's one cool configuration that you can try. All right, and then I'll show you the final one involving the overhead light that I think I'm going to keep. Okay, so I think this one lights up the area best, which is a combination of that wall light and the larger fluorescent light put above it, okay? So I think it lights up this area fairly well. Looks pretty good during the daytime as well. All right, and I'll show you real quick what I did with this. I just added a little poster to it. See, almost looks like it was meant to be that way, huh? All right, added a few decorations. And then for the sink drain, I know some of you have been asking how I did that. Well, it's a subway token. So now you get all the magician's tricks there. All right. So anyway, my friends, I hope you found this helpful. You know, I definitely appreciate your patience as I'm doing my best to post videos as often as I can despite my day job. But I'm not getting burned out. Not going to quit YouTube. We're going to grow the Skooled Zone video by video and sub by sub. Speaking of subs, make sure you're subscribed to get these videos delivered right to your digital doorstep. Throw a like on the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy building and class dismissed.